segment, I feel that the purpose of African American History Week to month, now looking at it at the brink of the 21st century, is still very important as it was then to now. And I think if we were having a conversation with Dr. Carter G. Woodson presently, he would still feel that, oh my gosh, there's still very strong need to have an emphasis on getting people to learn more about the contributions that were made by African Americans earlier, to try to deal with a lot of the social issues and concerns and problems that exist today. I think he would probably be looking down on it, shedding buckets of tears, because he probably doesn't feel he's bridged that gap, as he probably thought about the miseducation of the Negro at that earlier time period, and on the brink of it being African American History Week, to it being a month, and now the 21st century. One might ask, given after the baby boomers and that thrust of education, what would have happened with the Generation Xers and now the millennials born in the 90s to the present? Are they coming in with a certain level of awareness? And as we entered that last segment, that was the issue that we dealt with at Harvard, wondering, what about this group that's going to be born? Will they have some sense of identity about what had happened just 30 years prior, 40 years prior, as we did the film out Selma, and as we're getting ready to celebrate the 50th anniversary in March. Groups of people even from Nashville are traveling to Selma to walk across the bridge on Bloody Sunday. To what degree will you have a busloads of youth, of they say students that are 18, 19 to 21 aware of it enough to want to be a part of that? Or has that history been lost? So when that history is lost with a group, I think Dr. Carter G. Woodson would agree, and the reason he's shedding these buckets of tears, metaphorically, is that he probably sensed that there's been a disconnect, even today, with that. And then when you have that disconnect, then you see other problems with voting. Are there going to be a thrust of people wanting to really be active voters and see the political process as an aspect of activism and bringing about change? They want to go in with education, another institution, as he would have had a strong thrust to say, we're going to work real hard and have values of higher education and work hard while we were here, regardless of our social class, that coming into the institution that we're going to leave, different than we were when we came. I want to look at economics. I want to ask the question, well, where are African Americans in the whole economic process? The middle class right now, and see that things have been a bit deplorable. They are not as large as they were when children now in college looking at their parents. It's going to be much more difficult in this technological telecommunications society in which we're living in. And I think some of that, as we look at it institutionally, is connected to what he referred to as that miseducation. It's still very present today as it was then, because we had a sense of that history. I think by and large, people would go at it in a different way. Now, I'm not trying to reduce it to just the African American experience. I want us to understand that Dr. Carter G. Woodson, as well as Du Bois, as well as Thurgood Marshall, Andrew Young, Dr. Martin Luther King, everyone in that forefront of bringing about a movement did something that helped all people within America to be better citizens and America to be a better America. Because if you didn't have that Civil Rights Act, you didn't have that Voting Rights Act, you wouldn't have had Title X. Institutions of higher education just weren't fair to women and say, well, we want to let women just have academic and student scholarships like they did for the men. It was because of the civil rights movement that caused that act to come about to give opportunities for women. When you go into places of business, males would have always had that opportunity. It was that whole civil rights movement that allowed women to have equal opportunities to be on the air, even here at this place that we are talking today, to be on newscasts, to be able to be the next president of the United States. All of those acts helped our society and our institutions to become a better place for democracy. So I think when we look at these contributions from the past to the present, looking at the brink of the 21st century and the importance of African American History Month, it's real important that we understand those contributions as more than just celebrating the contributions from slavery to freedom, but also constitutional changes that has impacted our entire society, that has helped everyone cherish from it. So I think when he looked at that whole idea of the miseducation, you probably can see how other ethnic groups that are coming that are not informed about those contributions can very easily be misinformed and would say, well, look, we've just been here 2 generations.